Well, Nick, as we join you at Flushing Meadows, wind back 24 hours, contrasting conditions. I know it's quite cool there tonight where you are, but last night it looked like the whole Billie Jean King National Tennis Centre was about to blow away. It was incredible.
I've never seen anything like it, Brett. I mean, I left here about 9:30, and the rain was really heavy then, and it really picked up drastically after that. I mean, they did an incredible job here of cleaning up. I got back onto site this morning about 10 o'clock, and there was still a lot of surface water around outside the grounds, and they were doing their utmost to clean it up. There were a lot of cars, a fair few abandoned cars around the site. It was brutal here last night, Brett. I don't think they quite anticipated what was coming, and it certainly kind of made a big impact. But they did a great job. The play was only delayed by an hour. They did a great job, got all the courts good to go, and it was a fast turnaround.
It certainly was, yeah. Hats off to everyone there. I mean, even they prepared for contingencies and they have a meteorologist on site, but something can't prepare you for the storm that erupted in quick fire last night. Let's get on to the tennis today. Jordan Thompson from an Australian perspective, and it was agonising. I mean, we are used to watching Tomo play a lot of long matches. He's built for that. He's superbly fit. Look, I think he's got a great tennis mind that keeps him in matches. He hasn't got the firepower of a Karatsev who was able to wear him down the straight of that match. But to have, a couple of match points, an 18-minute tiebreaker there in the fourth, he just couldn't quite seal the deal. A door was left open, and Karatsev, as we saw at the Australian Open back in January, I mean, he can just out-hit you on the court. But, yeah, tough loss for Jordan.
Yeah, he had a forehand on match point that he got really tight on, I have to say. It's always easy for us to sit here and say he got tight, isn't it? We have the easy job, but he did hit a forehand that was a little tight. And then the fifth set, he actually had about a 10-minute break at the end of the fourth just to kind of regroup, I think, get refreshed. Came back on court. Karatsev was a different player in the fifth. Got an early break and then just suffocated him. As you well know, with Karatsev, he hits one of the biggest balls on the tour. Yeah. And he took time away from Jordan. And you could just sense Jordan's spirits kind of drop, and his head dropped a little bit in the fifth, and it went over. In the end, it ran away pretty quickly.
Yeah, it did. Unfortunately, it was a real opportunity. His first two sets were terrific, 3-3. Just couldn't quite sustain it. Gee, look at that. Just look at that side of the draw. It's open, isn't it? I mean, the amount of seeds that have fallen. Hurkacz, the latest to go out. We're seeing Goffin, Demonor, Sonigo, Fanini, Carino Busta, Hutchinov all disappear from that side.
Yeah, and that leaves just three in the top half, as you say. Berrettini sneaking by today against Mute. We know how tricky Mute can be. Karatsev obviously in there, and Djokovic at the top of the draw. So, it's I feel like over the last 12 months we've talked a little bit more about how even the men's game's becoming, and I think we're seeing it a little bit now here with all those early upsets.
No doubt, but no upset today for Alexander Zverev. That went in the blink of an eye. I mean, Albert Ramos-Vinolas, he's been a real warrior. Obviously more known for his clay court prowess. He's won a lot of titles on clay, but he couldn't even get a look in today.
No, you're right, he is. But I think he's also been pretty effective on quicker courts because Ramos as a go gets a bit more out of his game on this surface. But when Zverev's serving at 130 miles an hour and he's serving at 75% as he was today and hitting his spots, I mean, it was frighteningly good today, I have to say. The flip side of the coin is Ramos isn't a guy who's going to pressure him too much off the return in particular. So I think you probably have to take it slightly with the added side of looking at the opposition. But nonetheless, Zverev seems to be playing with a real belief that he can win this tournament. And I think, speaking to a lot of people here, Brett, a lot of people whose opinions I certainly respect, they're really liking what they see with Zverev. They really feel that he could have turned a corner. That Olympic gold may well have been a tipping point for him in his career. And he's playing with so much self-belief.
Yeah, it seems that everyone sort of got him ahead of Medvedev at the moment and Tsitsipas in behind. Is that sort of your order?
I think it probably is. Just the way he's striking the ball, the confidence he has. I think the win over Novak at the Olympics was massive for him, just in terms of belief levels. He came out in Cincinnati. We knew he'd never won a match in Cincinnati, as we know, and then he was able to go and win the tournament. The serve is big. The second serve was always the issue, wasn't it, Brett? And that's really been cleaned up. His average second serve speed here is 107 miles an hour. And that's significantly higher than it has been in previous years, which suggests that he's actually being more aggressive off the second serve. He's got confidence in that shot. The double faults have come down for now. I don't think they've disappeared entirely, but they've certainly been reduced in number, and that's allowing him to play again with a bit more freedom.
Yeah, to play the winner of Sock and Bublik in the next round. And onto the women's side, Nick, Iga Swiatek. I mean, she's been a real revelation the last couple of years, winning a French, climbing inside the top 10. Very watchable game, all-court sort of game, and got a very detailed team around her, coach and Mike James. I listened to a great podcast last year of him telling us about his role that he plays in the Swiatek camp. I believe you've been having a little bit of a chat to him, and she's now sort of putting herself in the picture of every Grand Slam, isn't she?
Yeah, I think it's been at times a little bit of a difficult year. I think the Olympics for Swiatek was everything. They put a lot of hopes on the Olympic Games in terms of her going into that. Didn't quite work out. They then had to reset after that. They went to Cincinnati, lost early. I just felt today as though just watching her, she was down a set and a break that wasn't quite dialed in mentally. It didn't feel as though she was quite as comfortable on court as she has been before. She's obviously been a player we've seen very composed, great competitor. But you just get the sense not everything's 100% right. But in saying that, today, down to Fiona Ferro, down a set and a break in all sorts of trouble, she actually did tremendously well to get herself together and come through that one, because it was an incredible second set tie break. She pulled through and then raced away with the third. So a good effort. Courts are quick here, Brett, as I've said a number of times. Yeah. Not sure that helps Swiatek at the moment. I just think they can get to the forehand, where you can rush her on the forehand side. I still think that's a bit of a weakness. And I think that, potentially long-term prospects for that, I'm not so sure.
Let's, just before I let you go, just a couple of matchups across the weekend, the other side of the men's draw. So obviously our focus is going to be on Alexei Popyrin and Dan Evans. Can I get a quick thought on that as to how you think that'll play out?
Well, I don't know. Dan Evans just about an hour or so ago retired from his doubles match, Brett, with a hamstring injury, which obviously is going to be very interesting to see how he pulls up tomorrow. I feel like it's a good matchup for Dan, just on the face of it. I feel like his slice backhand can really cause problems for Popyrin. I feel like it's going to test Popyrin's two-hander. Still, for me, I think that's a shot that's not as reliable as some of his peer group on the tour. In saying that, Dan has had some problems, obviously physically this summer with COVID. Took a while to recover. That knocked his confidence. Didn't hit quite so many tennis balls that he is used to doing. So, big match for Alexei tomorrow. Big opportunity. To reach the fourth round is a really big opportunity. A lot, I think, will depend on Dan's fitness levels.
Yeah, no doubt. Just looking at Tsitsipas Alcaraz, that's got some appeal about it. Bautista Agut, Felix Auger-Aliassime, that's got some appeal. Rublev and Tiafoe. I mean, Francis, I'm sensing, he's always had the talent. He burst onto the scene as a young man. Wayne Pereira has been with him now for a little period of time, and you can sort of see the effects, but he's one of those dynamic players who you want to see play the percentages and a little bit more rather than losing patience and going for that rash shot. But he seems to be just trying to get a bit more discipline there.
Definitely. I think it's a big ask to beat Rublev tomorrow. I really do. I think the one issue he doesn't have for me, I don't think Tiafoe gets enough 3 points out of his serve. I think against Rublev, you've got to get 3 points off your serve. He's a guy who likes rhythm, and I think Tiafoe will give him a bit of rhythm. Again, good courts for Tiafoe, low bouncing, fast. That's great for his ground. He's got such a flat backhand, Tiafoe, that it's perfect conditions for him here to get the ball through the court. But for me, Rublev's just a better all-round competitor these days. He's got more game. I think he's going to keep Tiafoe pushed back behind the baseline as well, crucially. So I have to say, I think I'd have to favour the Russian, especially given his record here, Brett. Twice a quarter-finalist here. Rublev's got good memories of these particular courts.
Well, going to be a great Saturday viewing here in Australia with those matches that I mentioned. Thanks, Nick. Really appreciate your time as always.
No worries, Brett.